Now, folks, I find it quite ironic how our mainstream media target the CCP over their poor human rights record, when ours isn't much better. For example, our human rights have been stripped away from us with the COVID-19 Public Health Response Bill. Now, the people in China are controlled by a communist, and so are we. The people in China don't have free speech, and nor do we. And the people in China live in a police state, and so do we. And right now, as we speak, the police in New Zealand are setting up a facial recognition system to monitor us, to control us. But first, let's start off with this ruse.
The Prime Minister refuses to mention the Christchurch gunman by name, but she's announced another label for him today.
National correspondent Patrick Garr joins us now with all the details. Patrick.
Yes, the government today officially designated Brenton Tarrant as what is called a terrorist entity. Now, he was sentenced last week, of course, for committing a terrorist act, but this is different. The Prime Minister says it makes it a criminal offence to participate in or support the activities of the designated terrorist entity. That means the government can go after anyone who wants to financially support him or fundraise under his name. Now, there are 20 groups designated as terrorist entities in New Zealand. What sets him apart this time is he's the first individual, but he joins a notorious group alongside Al-Qaeda, the Islamic State, and the Irish Republican Army, the IRA. Now, the reason the government has done this is because Tarrant is revered, sadly, online among white supremacists. This new label gives the government the license to go after them.
Now, don't be fooled for a moment, folks. This is about tracking and targeting any right-wing group that opposes this government. Anyway, now to Bolt from a couple of weeks back.
Joining me is Sharry Marks, who's not just with Sky News, but also now an investigations writer with The Australian.
Now, this young lady does very good research.
Sharry, very important story that you've got in the paper today. Now, there's been a security breach that has revealed this snooping. What happened and what does it show?
Good evening, Andrew. It is such an important story. We know that the Chinese government has been conducting facial recognition surveillance on its citizens in public places. We know that they've been targeting some ethnic minority groups like the Uyghurs and the Tibetans. But now what this leak shows is that they've extended it to other regions of China and other minority groups. And what's different about this particular surveillance program, that experts tell me, and they were on Sky last night, is that people are actually being tracked. And you can see it from the images as they're arriving at their home, as they're leaving their home, and their image, when it pops up on the surveillance system, is matched to a whole collection of data about an individual: their identification number, their mobile phone number, their license plate number. So there's a whole lot of intelligence about each person that the CCP is able to monitor.
That's just incredible. So this is really advanced stuff, right? Really effective. What sort of effect does it have actually on the people being surveilled?
Well, the reports are, and this came to light, the reason we've been able to bring it to light is because Chinese activists have exposed this system. They took it to an international group of cyber security experts who specialise in China, who have been working with me to bring this story to light. They don't just do a data dump, they work with select journalists around the world, and I worked with them on this particular story. But what the Chinese activists are so concerned about is that people are in effect living in homes that have been turned into prisons. They can't have guests over without the authorities knowing about it. And the problem is that the Chinese government is starting to crack down on what religious practices people can perform even within their own home. So home churches is one of the things that the government's cracking down on, and this is a way of monitoring it because they can see who's actually gathering and meeting inside a person's home.
Now, in New Zealand, I don't think this technology will be used to target religion, but it will be used to target right-wing conservatives.
other thing about this system is that when someone's name pops up, it registers whether they are normal or abnormal. And if for whatever reason they're on a blacklist or an abnormal list, the authorities can immediately see where they are and turn up to find out what's going on or to arrest them.
Shari, this is really scary. And what worries me, of course, is that some of this technology, maybe not quite as advanced, but could easily come here too. Initially to fight crime and impose quarantine zones, but thin edge of the wedge.
Yeah, but Andrew, this technology is already in New Zealand. Now, hat tip to rather be fishing for this one. And folks, I've posted a link to this article in the description below. So we have Radio New Zealand, police setting up $9 million facial recognition system which can identify people from CCTV feed. 31 August 2020, just a couple of days ago. Police have been quietly setting up a $9 million facial recognition system that can take a live feed from CCTV cameras and identify people from it. This would push New Zealand into new territory for tracking citizens. Exactly the same as the CCP in China. It will be run by a non-police contractor, US firm DataWorks Plus, and collect 15,000 facial images a year, with that expected to expand up to tenfold. Some of this information is contained in an Official Information Act response provided to Stuff last year, but tried to withhold from Radio New Zealand last week until a complaint was made to the Ombudsman. So they clearly tried to hide this stuff, folks. Radio New Zealand made inquiries with other agencies after revealing that the Internal Affairs Department has been quietly setting up a $20 million passport processing system. So let's have a quick look at that. Global facial recognition company working closely with New Zealand government. A major company at the centre of controversies over facial recognition technology in the US and UK is working closely with the New Zealand government. The Tokyo-based NEC, which has resisted a Black Lives Matter inspired ban in America, is updating passport systems here using its powerful Neo-Face system. Now, folks, you can read this later. Right now, I'll just go back. Both the department and the police are using some of the world's most powerful facial recognition software, Neo-Face, developed by NEC, a Japanese company with $44 billion in revenue a year. Both said they did not tell the public, as these are mere upgrades really. And neither did the privacy impact assessment, though Internal Affairs told the Privacy Commission about Neo-Face while the police did not. So I'll just scroll down slowly and you can read as we go. Driver's licenses, CCTV. future substantial increases. The tender shows police already have 1.5 million images of 800,000 people, having first set up the existing image management system in 2009. A further 50,000 images a year are expected to be put into the vastly more powerful new system. Now folks, is this the kind of country you want to live in? Do you want the police tracking you wherever you go? Now of course they're selling this as crime prevention, but don't be fooled by that. This is designed for political control, just like in China. Now I think the new Conservatives need to look into this one.